I have the review on the 62cc chainsaw. I got it at Walmart, as you can tell, but they sell them on Amazon. I paid for it with my own money, and yeah, it's just supposed to be a good product. I've seen a lot of reviews on it online, and truthfully, the reason I wanted it was because you can never have enough chainsaws. And the reason I say that, if you've got one chainsaw and you do something stupid like I do and get them pinched in the tree sometimes, it's good to have an extra saw as a backup. And so that's what I figured I would do with this one, is just have me an extra for a backup, and especially for $200, you can't hardly beat that. So this is what it looks like when it comes in the mail. It comes in the Walmart box, and then it comes in this other box here from Proyama. You can see right here that this saw is made in China. I knew that when I got it, but I gotta say, you know, it's pretty surprising some of the stuff that's coming out of China. Some of the copies and stuff that they make of different saws, you know, some of them are pretty decent, some of them are just junk, but everything that I've gotten from Proyama seems to, you know, work good. So anyways, there's another box here. And I gotta say, if you do get this thing, you don't have to worry about it coming damaged. I mean, it's in, you know, 3 cardboard boxes. But there's your manual. And then one other feature about this saw is it comes with 2 different bars. This one comes with this is the 22-inch bar. And it looks like there's some sort of bag. And yeah, you can see right there, it's just a little duffel bag to carry your saw. And I know what you're going to say, that's just a piece of junk. Well, if you've ever had chainsaws like I have, you know, they always leak bar oil. And so, you know, it's nice to have a little bag to help contain some of that bar oil from leaking. And, you know, it ain't nothing fancy. It's just a little canvas bag. It has some sort of liner material in there, I guess, to keep the bar oil from leaking out of it so bad. But yeah, it's nice that they provide that. And comes with some little cheapy earmuffs, little cheapy gloves, mixing bottle, so you can make sure to put your oil in there and your gas in here, you know, if you don't want to carry a big gas can with you. And it comes with the face shield. And I gotta say, I'm pretty surprised that it's as good as it is. It seems to be fairly good quality. You know, this seems like this is metal here, the metal screen on it. And then this is just like a cheap plastic here across the front, but you know, this here protects your face. And then it's got like a little sweatband on there that you can remove and take off and put another one on there. You can wash it or whatever you need to. But I'm surprised that it fits my big head, because I've got a big head, and usually stuff like this usually just goes in the trash because I can't never wear it. But it's actually pretty comfortable. It's got an adjustment knob here on the back to tighten it up or loosen to your head. So I was actually shocked that this was any count. And I didn't figure it'd be very good quality, but it's pretty decent. And next, it comes with this 18-inch bar. So I showed you this one here's a 22. This one's an 18. And then it comes with like a little sheath to put over the bar to protect it. And then you've got a scrunch. And it looks like they provided a file, like a rat tail file, to sharpen your chainsaw. Your dogs are in there, and then the 2 nuts that hold the side plate onto the saw. It's all in there, all your hardware and everything that you'll need. You've got a chain here, and then next you've got your little side cover here, and it's got your brake right in there. This is a little adjustment prong that sticks out, so whenever you turn this flathead screw right there, that you can adjust the tension on the chain. And I gotta say, it looks like it's pretty well made. And then also it comes with an 18-inch chain for the 18-inch bar. And then you've got your power head right here. And I gotta say, you know, this thing is pretty nice. It doesn't weigh much, and part of that's because it has a magnesium case, and you can see right in there that's magnesium, you know. And then you can tell that, you know, the rest of this is plastic on the outside. Here you've got your primer bulb, you've got your choke, and you know, it seems to work as it should. And then you've got your air filter housing right in here. Let's see, that's on there pretty good. I might have to use a screwdriver. It's got a little spot for it there in the middle, so you can undo it with a screwdriver if you can't do it by hand. So that's pretty handy. It's got a few threads on there, I will say that. So it's not going to just come off on you very easy. Alright. And then you can see right there, it's got a pretty decent looking air filter on it. We'll check it out. Make sure everything's seated and tight. I like to go through mine, any type of small engine, whether it be a generator or a string trimmer, whatever. I like playing around with them, looking at them, making sure that they're assembled correctly and all that. And so, the filter looks pretty decent. It's got your on and off switch right here, and it's just a metal toggle switch. So it looks like it's made pretty heavy duty, and it's got a good clicking sound. So, and then right here is the access to your spark plug. So I'm going to go ahead and use the provided scrunch that they have in there, and I'm going to remove the spark plug. Wow, whoever put that in there, they put it in there tight. But I wanted to take a look in there before I crank it up or anything. But it says that it's a Champion RCJ6Y. So a lot of times what I'll do is go get me a replacement and have it on hand, and then keep it in my little tool bag with all my tools, and you know, just an extra fuel filter, an air filter, and all my tuning stuff. I'll just keep it all right there. All right, so there's very little assembly that you have to do with this saw. The one thing that you do have to assemble is the little dog here on the front, and it gives you the 2 screws that fit in there. There's one there, and then one here at the top. Literally takes like 2 seconds to put this on, and it's kind of hard to do when you got big fat hands like I do. I'm trying to video this. And then it comes with the Torx tool, so you can tighten this up. You ain't got to go crazy with them, just make sure they're nice and snug. And then next you've got a gasket that fits right in there. I've never seen this before, and I don't know how that's gonna work out because that gasket is gonna probably get a lot of sawdust on it and oil on it, so I don't know how well it'll hold up, but that's what they say to do. It says right here in the package that the gasket come in, it says, please install the paper gasket onto the guide plate and align it to the oil outlet to avoid oil leakage between the guide plate and the guide bar. You know, once you get that gasket put on there, then obviously the bar is going to fit on there just like that. So before I put the bar on, I wanted to go ahead and lube it up really good. Now a lot of people forget this step, and this to me is a very important step because I have burned up the sprocket here on the end of the bar. You can see that little sprocket that's turning in there, and the way that you keep from burning that up is you grease it. And you know, I try to grease mine every few uses, but you know, you can grease it whenever you want to, but there's a little hole right there, and if you've already got a bar that's used and you want to grease it, what you'll do is take a little toothpick or something and clean that old grease out of there and gunk and sawdust. And then you want to get you a grease gun like this here. And this is not your typical style of grease gun like you would normally use that has the trigger, the pumps, or the lever. You know, this is just this style here. And the way that it works is you line that up and then you just push down. And then when you push down, you can see that it deposited a little bit of grease in that hole, and it's going to eventually come out somewhere here at the end of the bar on that. And then watch this. You just keep pumping it full of grease, and you can see right there. So that's the way that you grease that sprocket, and it's very helpful to do that. Like I said, you know, I have burnt the sprockets up before on these, and you know, they're expensive if you go buy a good one. You know, you easily spend $50 on a good bar. Then you just take that grease and kind of pack it down in there. But this thing, it really does come in handy. And you know, if you've got air tools, I brought my air gun in here. This is an Ingersoll Rand pneumatic air impact, and I know a lot of people take and put the oil down in the ends of them to put oil on, but then they forget to grease them. And I was just going to show you that you can use this to grease your air tools. the same way as you grease the sprocket on there. So if you're wondering, do you need one of these? Probably so. But they're not much money. I'll put a link to one down in the description. All right, so I'm gonna be running the 18-inch bar just to start off with, and you know, I might eventually switch to the 22-inch, but you know, for most of what I do, it's gonna be smaller stuff, and so the 18 it's a good size. And you can see this is the chain that it come with, and it says that it's a low kickback saw chain. I've not used this one yet, so I'm not sure if it's you know, good quality or not, but you know, I'll probably trade it in for like an Oregon or something like that, something better. But this one here is if you're running the 22-inch bar, here's the specs on it. Hope you guys can read that. And then again for the 18, there's the information for the 18-inch bar chain. When it comes out of the package, you'll have some little twisties like this, and the best thing you do is not panic. Just kind of pull it apart and untangle it the best that you can. So off camera, my girlfriend wanted to take the chain apart, so she messed with this thing for, you know, 3 or 4 minutes, and she was like, it's a medieval torture puzzle. So that's probably about, you know, the truth. For you people that's never put one of these on and pulled them out of the package and they're all kinked up, just take your time, use some common sense, and you'll get it. And I don't know if you guys can see, but right there, these are your cutters. And they're really sharp. And you want the cutters facing to where they face forward on the top. What you're gonna do is just take and put your chain around your clutch. Then you're gonna take and put it around your bar, the tip right here at the sprocket. You're gonna go ahead and get it lined up in there, and just put the chain in the little guide all the way down. And then once you get it all lined up, it should look something just like this, with your cutters here on the top cutting this way, coming around this way. So it's gonna go in a clockwise rotation if you're looking at it from this side of the saw. So next, you're gonna go ahead and remove this little retaining nut that holds the side plate on. Just gonna remove it. I just stuck it on there so it wouldn't be bouncing all over the place. And then you wanna take and put the side cover on just like this. All right, so this little tensioner peg that's sticking up right there where I'm pointing to is going to fit right down in that hole right there. So whenever you turn that head of that screwdriver with your little flathead scrunch tool, if you turn it this way, then you get less tension. Turn it this way and get more tension. And so I've already got it lined up right where it needs to be. And so lay this on top of there. That little peg is going to go right down into that hole. Now you might have to adjust yours out, and you probably will. But once it gets fitted down into that hole, then next you want to put these retaining nuts on right here, just like that. And then next, what you want to do is take, and you can see that I've got slack in the chain, and the chain needs to be tensioned. I don't know how well you guys can see that, but what you want to do to tension that up is just take and turn. And you can see that, you know, it's in there. So now I've got everything adjusted. I've got the tensioner adjusted, and you can see that the chain is right where it needs to be. And you know, it can still rotate the chain without it, you know, being bound up. And so I know it's not too tight. And plus, you know, after you run it for a few minutes, the chain is going to stretch a little bit and all that. And so you'll probably have to readjust it. But then once you get it adjusted as far as the tension, then you want to go back and tighten the nuts up here on the side. And again, you know, you don't want to go stupid crazy and tighten these things up to, you know, 100 foot-pounds, because you can break them, and you can break that tensioner as well. So I would say just you know, snug them up, but don't go crazy with them. All right, so just to show you that it's all lined up perfectly, I'm just take a paper towel so I don't cut myself, and you can see that it rotates freely. It's not binding up or anything. And then when I go to pull the chain up, you can see just the bottom of that link of the chain. And so That's perfectly adjusted. Like I said, you know, after you run it for a few minutes, you'll probably have to retension it and tighten it back down. And then next, this is where you're going to put your gas in. And this right here is the housing. Now, if you can't get it off by hand, then you can always take your scrunch, stick it in there like that, and use it for leverage to loosen that cap up. But you can see right in there, it's got a little keeper there on the fuel cap, so you don't lose it. And you know, as far as your mixture, you're going to need a 40-to-1 gas oil mixture, and maybe for the first tank or two, I might mix it just a hair stronger. So you know, that's just me, my personal preference, but it does recommend a 40-to-1 mixture. And you can see that they've put it right there on the side of the saw on a little sticker. And then right in here, you've got a picture of like a chain, and then right here it's got like a picture of a gas tank. And so that's for your gas. The front one here is for your bar oil. And so the way that you loosen this one is the same way. You can use your scrunch tool to loosen it up. You can see right in there, it's got a nice gasket on there, and it's got the same keeper. And yeah, looks pretty good, guys. I mean, I don't see anything wrong with it at all. I'm gonna give it a good honest review, and I appreciate it if you take a second right now and like and subscribe to my channel, because you guys see that I review a lot of stuff, get over 500 videos. And if you would, check some of those videos out. I've got a lot of stuff that I've reviewed through the years, and I've made a lot of tutorial videos trying to help people out, from lighting kerosene heaters all the way to, you know, tool reviews and just whatever I have found interesting. So now, one thing I do want to do is weigh this saw. Now on Amazon it says it weighs 11.5 pounds, and then on Walmart's website it says 14 pounds. So we're going to measure it. I just wanted to show you it's zeroed out right there, and this is a pretty accurate scale. And this is with the 18-inch bar on there and the chain and everything, and it comes up to 14.4 pounds. All right, so I just wanted to tell you some of the capacities for the saw. As far as like the fuel tank, it says it holds 22 ounces of fuel, and again, that's the 40-to-1 ratio. I personally use that VP Racing synthetic oil, and with my gas, I run 93 in all my power equipment. I know most of the power equipment says 89 or higher, so I just run 93, you know, especially the saws, and I just run 93 in all of it, so that way I don't have to worry about it. And like I said, I run that VP Racing, the synthetic oil, and it seems to work good. It doesn't stink like some of the steel oil I found. It's really smoky and it stinks. Don't really care for it. Now I do buy some of the oil from the Home Depot. They've got some, I think it's Red Armor or something, some of the Echo oil. I run it sometimes, but here lately I've been running that VP Racing oil. That's what I've stuck with, and so I bought a bunch of it. As far as the chain oil reservoir, it holds 8.45 ounces of bar oil. So you can pick up whichever kind you want. I just run the Husqvarna stuff just because it's easy to get. But anyways, I'm probably not going to run this thing until tomorrow, and I'm going to break it in a little bit before I, you know, give my opinion on it. It's kind of hard just to run a saw through one tank full of gas and say, oh, it's good or bad. You know, I want to at least give it time to break in, and I want to be able to stop and start it and see how good it cranks or it don't crank and all that before I give my honest opinion on it. Hopefully it'll be easy to start. There's no cylinder decompression on here. You know, I know some of the saws have like a cylinder decompression button where it's easier to start, but this one here should take a little doing to start it, because it is a bigger engine for like a homeowner type saw. And as far as the brake, the chain brake, it seems to work really good. You know, you can see right here that, you know, the chain's moving, and then once you push it forward, I mean, it locks that chain really good. I can't even pull it, and I'm pulling pretty hard. And then to release it, then you can see right there. So the chain brake works excellent. So now, one thing I just want to touch on just for a second is it does come with a little rat tail file, so you can sharpen your chain over and over until you just can't sharpen it no more. The teeth get worn down on it. But the way that I've always done it is just from sight. So the first thing that I always do is I take a black magic marker. I just mark the top of one of the cutters, and that's where I start sharpening the chain. So the way that I always sharpen my chains, and I've done this a lot, is I always just hold the pointy end like this here, and I just take and lay the file down to where it matches the angle of the little cutter there. And once I get it to that right angle, then I just hold the end of the bar, and then I just push just like that. And I usually do 2 or 3 swipes, and then once I do 2 or 3 swipes, then you can see that it's taken just enough of the material off to where that's a really sharp point there on that cutter. And so the reason I mark it is so when I go to the next cutter to sharpen it, I'll know how far I've been, because you can see right here I got my 4 strokes on there, and then I'll go to the next one, and then I'll turn the saw the other way and get these coming this way on my next pass. But this is just my end point. This is my start point, and that's where I know that's the end, so I don't resharpen that cutter again. But you know, just a couple swipes on this and it'll tune that chain right up and make it super sharp. And you can sharpen a chain a bunch. You can cut down a lot of trees and just reuse the same chain just by sharpening it. I know a lot of people are, you know, don't want to fool with it and they'll go buy another chain, but you know, I think it's kind of crazy when you can just you know, file it down and keep on going with it. So anyways, all right, YouTube, well, I guess it's been probably a little over a month since you guys seen me use this thing. Yeah, the weather turned off really cold here in Tennessee, and it was down in the single digits and then the teens, and just spent over a week in the house because it was so cold. And then right after that, me and my girlfriend both got COVID, so we've been super sick for probably about 3 weeks now, and we're getting over it, but we ain't had much energy. But anyways, I pulled this thing out after just leaving it sitting outside. I mean, literally, I left it sitting up underneath a little gazebo for the month. Didn't cover it up or nothing, so it's been out in the weather. And so I was gonna put some gas in it, but I was gonna show you guys a tip. If you need a good gas can, these SURECANs work good on these. I mean, you just open the lid, and then you can control the amount of gas with your thumb there. And that way you're not getting a lot of spillage. And you can see that I'm just controlling it with my thumb. All right, there we go. Got it right to the top, and then you put your cap back on it. So it's a tip for you if you're like me and hate regular gas cans, then this is a good alternative. And it says in the directions to prime it. So I'm gonna prime it right there. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Pull the choke out and then put it to where it's in the on start position. And then you can already see right here there's some bar oil that's leaked out. And also, whenever I left it sitting outside for a month and I just went to go pick it up, there was bar oil everywhere. So the oiler on this thing does work good. So I just hope I got enough strength to start it up. But anyways, we're gonna go ahead and put your chain brake on so it don't start spinning. And I'm gonna go ahead and put my foot up. I've got a lot of wood that's already been cut up, but they're in bigger pieces. I had a tree cut over here a couple years ago, and this wood's just been sitting here, and I'm tired of having to mow around it in the summertime. So I thought, well, I'll cut it in smaller pieces, and you know, that way I can move it to a place where I can burn it a little bit easier. So anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and start cutting on it, and I just wanted to show you how good the Proyama saw does. So here we go. Now keep in mind, it's going to be dirty from sitting on the ground, so you know, I'm gonna try not to get in the dirt, but you know, there's going to be some dirt on the wood, but that's just, it is what it is. Well, there you go, guys. You can see that, man, that thing really does cut through it. And I gotta say, the saw's got a lot of power to it. You know, I mean, it's for 200 bucks, you know, you can't expect any more than that. It does have some really good power. I mean, it's every bit as strong as my Husqvarna 440. And you know, now I would like to put probably a better chain on it. I'm sure it would probably cut better, but I've touched this chain up just a little bit and you know, sharpened it. But you can see there's some big chunks right here. I mean, those are big pieces of wood, you know. And so, like I said, I've touched the chain up just a little bit, but it does pretty good. Pretty impressed with it, you know, especially the amount of power that it has. All right, guys, so it's been probably 4 or 5 minutes since I used this to cut this piece of wood here, and I'm gonna crank it back up, just show you that it'll start, and hopefully it'll start good. It hasn't let me down yet. So the way you restart it, just flip your switch and then pull your handle. Always put the chain brake on so it don't take off spinning. Starts good. Let's try it on another piece of wood. You guys can see that. And look how big those pieces are. It just shredded that thing. So yeah, very impressed with it. It does a good cut. Man, that's a nice piece of wood right there. So yeah, I'm very impressed with it. All right, guys, so we're gonna do it one more time. I've got a piece of wood here. I believe this is red oak, and you know, if the bark looks a little fragile, it is, but I assure you that the wood just past the bark there nice and solid. And you can see just how big this thing is. I mean, it comes all the way up to my knee, and it's even longer this way. So anyways, I'm gonna cut it in half, like I said, so we can manage it a little bit easier. And so here we go. Let's do it one more time. Put it in on position, put the chain brake on, and we're gonna pull her hard, because this saw's got some pretty good compression, and you gotta pull it pretty good to start it. Once you start it, it's good though. Pretty crazy. So I'm gonna go ahead and flip it over so I can cut it in two. Oh, man. That's all I can do to pick that thing up and roll it over. Alright guys, well, there you go. You can see that's nice solid wood, and that's a big old chunk. Alright guys, so that is my review of the Proyama saw. I gotta say, you know, like I said, this thing it's pretty powerful for a $200 saw, even a $300 or $400 or $500 saw. You know, it really does have good power to it, and it comes with the 18-inch bar, and I believe the 22-inch bar. Now I just want to clarify, I left the 18-inch bar on here to cut this oak here, and the reason I left it on there was because I was using the 18-inch bar to cut a pear tree, and you can see all the limbs that I cut off that pear tree, and you know, I didn't want to have to deal with the longer bar. But you know, I also left the 18-inch on here just because I'd have that extra power to cut some of this thicker, you know, oak. But you know, you ain't gonna have any problems running the larger bar, because this thing does have plenty enough power. But you gotta say, you know, every time I started it, it started right up. Now the one thing that you got to remember, and it tells you in the directions when you go to start it, when you pull the choke out and you pull the cord, you know, that 5 times, don't be tempted to mess with the throttle, because if you do, you'll flood the saw out. So you pull your choke out, you pull the cord about 5-6 times, and then you push the choke in, and then pull the cord 5, 6, 7 times till it starts, and then it fires, it pops right off. But if you know, like I said, if you mess with that throttle before then, you'll flood it out, and you know, it'll be harder to start, and you'll have to let it sit for a few minutes and then come back to it and repeat those steps. But you know, as far as, you know, just using it, like I said, I cut that whole pear tree down, and I've cut some of this oak up, and that's about all I've done. But you know, probably 3 hours worth of work using it, you know, just on and off. But yeah, seems to work really good, and you know, I think for a couple $100 you can't beat it, and you know, I think you guys would be pretty happy with it. So anyways, I'm gonna try to put a link to it down in the description. I am an Amazon affiliate, not just trying to sell it to you. I tell you if it's a piece of crap or not. You know, I wouldn't suggest it if I didn't use it myself and didn't think that it was a good saw. So I'll put a link down below so you can find it, and if there's any kind of discount code or something, I'll try to get you something for it. But you know, around $200. So anyways, I appreciate you guys watching, and until next time, you know, please like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll talk to you guys later. See ya.